What's up, guys? Back again. Just watched that pathetic excuse for a game from Dallas. Once again, as usual, Mike McCarthy had them flat and unmotivated coming out for the game. Um, he's not, and I want to make this clear. McCarthy's got to go. He's got to go. And I don't know what your options are going to be at quarterback. I mean, I'd trade up in the draft, try to get Bo Nix, Michael Penix. Dak's got to go. McCarthy's got to go. It's the same story over and over and over again every single year. The same things happen. Dak falls flat. Dak throws picks. McCarthy can't get the guys motivated. They come out flat. It's just a repeating cycle over and over and over again. And I'm tired of hearing well, the guys loved Mike and this and that. Well, they loved Wade Phillips too, and what'd that get you? And they loved Jason Garrett too, and what'd that get you? And they loved Mike McCarthy, and what'd that get you? I don't. Dallas is already about as cushy as it gets for NFL teams. I think one of the few things I agree with Skip Bayless on said it best. The Cowboys, it's a country club. It's a country club. The guys are never under real pressure. They're never under real adversity. They just float around, and whether they win, lose, like all those guys are going to go out tonight and probably go get free dinners all over Dallas. So I mean, there's no real consequences for anything in Dallas. They just live this cushy celebrity life. They're more celebrity than football player. And when you have an atmosphere like that, which is, and it's not about Jerry Jones or anything else, that atmosphere is inescapable. Dallas is America's team. It's inescapable. It's going to exist like that regardless of who the owner is until the end of time. So when you have a atmosphere like that, you have to get a coach that, like Jimmy Johnson, that can absolutely kick them in the ass and get them ready to play on Sundays and create fear and create urgency in a world and a lifestyle of luxury being a cowboy. There has to be somebody who can create urgency, um, create real pressure on these guys to perform and do their jobs. And we've seen that with Jimmy Johnson. We haven't seen it since Jimmy Johnson, and that's why it hasn't worked. We haven't seen a hard-nosed coach go into Dallas and be able to put it together and get it back on track. I'm not a huge Belichick fan. I'm really not. I think Belichick is an average coach at best, but he is a genius defensive coordinator. We know that. Dan Quinn, I don't really care at all whether Dan Quinn stays or goes at this point. I was beating the drum like pay him whatever you got to pay him, keep him, keep him, keep him. But Dan Quinn's in the same boat. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. Can't stop the run. Can't make basic coverage adjustments. When teams find holes, you can't make basic adjustments. I mean, this is all the same stuff over and over and over again. I mean, since the entire time we've seen Dan Quinn as a DC in Dallas, all we've seen is can't stop the run, can't stop the run, can't stop the run, can't stop the run. I mean, he's like, guys, all this stuff is just repeating on a loop every year. And I mean, the big thing was Dan Quinn, who's supposed to be a genius, found the fix against Miami late in the Miami game. He started putting, which is what I said, go back and look at the videos after Christmas that I posted about the Christmas Eve game. Look at the videos. I said it, and it worked. Take Micah Parsons off the ball. Micah Parsons is not only not a good run defender, he's a bad run defender. Micah Parsons is a terrible run defender. Like DeMarcus Lawrence, he's an excellent run stopping defensive end. Micah Parsons is atrocious against the run at DN. Why? Because he's 235, 240 pounds, having 300-pound guys run block, shoot off the ball, and push him all over the field. It's stupid. He can't do anything against the run at a defensive end. Not to mention, Micah's biggest attribute is his athleticism. Let him run sideline to sideline and track ball carriers and fill holes. Especially when you don't have Van Der Esch there and you're going to put Marquise Bell, which when you put him at end, it creates another problem of now you got a light safety, or Marquise Bell, you're light in the back end, again in the box with Marquise Bell in there getting pushed around, a safety getting pushed around by offensive linemen. I mean, the whole concept and scheme is just stupid. You put Parsons at linebacker, you can still blitz him from linebacker and bring pressure And besides that, it keeps defense off balance. Oh, is he a backer? Is he an end? Is he a left side, right side? Move him all over. And the best thing about him is his athleticism. Let him use it. I don't want to see him on first and second down playing defensive end. It's worthless. It's a waste of time. I would much rather see Dorrance Armstrong, who's 292 pounds, square off against the tackles for the Packers than 240-pound Micah Parsons. I would much rather see DeMarcus Lawrence, Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, and list and all the other defensive ends on that roster who are built at 270 plus pounds, who can hold up and handle run stop. I mean, it's just a complete waste of time and creating an automatic weak point on your defense, put him at defensive end. And what happened when they put him at linebacker? What happened? Oh, well, we saw Dorrance Armstrong actually make some good run stops, and we saw him get pressure on Goff in the Lions game, and all of a sudden the Lions couldn't run the ball because Micah was involved in all the tackles and actually was playing linebacker, which is his natural position. I think we all keep forgetting that. He's a great pass rusher, not big enough to be a full-time pass rusher. Not big enough. You want to put him at the end on third and longs and let him loose? All for that. Go for it. He's not an every down pass rusher because he can't play against the run. So it's just stupid. Leave him at his normal position, which is linebacker. Send him on blitzes and let him come off the edge on passing downs. But what do we see today? Micah Parsons was playing D-end all day long. What did we see? Packers push Micah Parsons around all day long. Aaron Jones runs wild, and Marquise Bell gets pushed around in the box. And Aaron Jones busting in not only the second level, the third level, untouched because Marquise Bell's laying on his butt somewhere under a 300-pound lineman that just pancaked him. And we just watched Green Bay run it down their throat all day long. I don't know what type of scheme they had in coverage, what Dan Quinn was doing in coverage. I mean, Jordan Love, the defense played to a point where the defensive line would get pressure. They're about to get a stop, and then Jordan Love just wings some prayer off his back foot. And every time, I mean, go back and watch this game, guys. Every single time, it was a coverage breakdown. Dallas is just somebody's wide open, huge coverage breakdown. They had no idea how to switch off when guys were running crossing routes, and I mean, and it was just a total disaster. I mean, these guys look like it was their first time ever playing football. You got him? Do I got him? Oh shit, nobody got him. Oh, first down. Oh shit, touchdown. I mean, it's literally just every single time. Mike is about to get there. D-Law's about to get there. Armstrong's about to get there. Sam Williams about to get there. And he wings something off his back foot to a guy wide open on coverage because the secondary was just confused. And, the worst coverage breakdown complete. I mean, this isn't like you had a play where you had a coverage break on a play. I mean, they literally had a coverage breakdown from start to finish, from wire to wire. The entire game was a coverage breakdown. They couldn't figure out who to cover and who was supposed to take what responsibility. The entire game, every time they threw the ball, it was a coverage breakdown. Every time. I mean, the entire game. I've never seen a secondary so confused and with such a lack of communication that literally every pass play from start to finish is a coverage breakdown. I mean, it's mind-blowing to me. So with Dan Quinn, that performance from that defense, I don't give a shit. Dan Quinn can go take a head coaching job somewhere else. I've seen enough from Dan Quinn. I've seen enough of the 200-yard rushing days on the Dallas defense. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of the stupidity playing Micah Parsons as a run stopper, as a run-stopping defensive end on first and second down. I've seen enough of Marquise Bell, a fucking safety, playing in the box as a linebacker at 215. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of all this nonsense from Dan Quinn. Ready to move on. McCarthy, it's tough for me to say because I think overall throughout the course of the year, McCarthy's done a nice job with the play calling. Dax obviously had a good year, but McCarthy, he got out schemed today. He couldn't figure out how to beat that defense. Was completely out schemed throughout the week to the point where Dallas is and everybody, they put up 30 points. It's all what Dallas has done, and Dak has done that his entire career with multiple coordinators and multiple coaches, all empty calorie stats. That's what Dak thrives on. That's the best part of his game is get Dallas behind by 30 and watch. Oh, you're going to see a show from Dak Prescott. Get behind 30-0, you'll see a show from Dak Prescott with all the off coverage, and they're just giving you wide open throws to help you burn the clock. Oh, yeah. all that little prevent and loose coverage. They're not pressing. Yeah. Oh, watch. You'll see a 400-yard touchdown day or a 400-yard game from Dak. All empty calories. That's not surprising. We've all seen that. We all know that's the case. When the game was in hand, when the game mattered, the whole first half, McCarthy couldn't find any answers against that defense. He had nothing in his playbook against that defense. Dak couldn't figure it out. The play calling was bad, put Dak in bad situations. I don't think Dak played awful, but he put him in bad situations. And then right at the crucial point where you can't do it, Dak throws 2 bad interceptions. One of them, the first pick for Jair Alexander, that wasn't even a bad pick. I'm not even mad at that one. The ball was a little high. I'd like that down lower towards the ground, let Brandon Cooks pick it up off the ground where only he can get it. Ball's a little high, but I'm not going to kill him for that. It comes down to the fact that Jair Alexander, it's pass interference. He's riding his back long before the ball gets there. It's clear and obvious pass interference. I mean, it's not particularly close. So that's literally an interception on a no PI call. I'm not even mad about that one. It wasn't a bad read. The throw wasn't terrible. But the one to CeeDee Lamb, I was literally watching the game, and we were seeing, and the announcers are talking about, like Greg Olson, oh, yeah, there's something that's just off. Dak and CD, it's just off. There's something just feels off, and they couldn't connect early, and CD's getting frustrated, and clearly, they try, oh, yeah, we're just talking about coverages. No, you're not. CD was pissed off about something before the game. Him and Dak were not on the same page. There was something going on between those two prior to the game, and then you see it after the conversation. I said, Dak knows CD's getting upset, and he knows he's getting frustrated, and I was watching him go down the field, and I said, watch, he's going to try to force him a ball here. He's going to try to force feed him a ball because he knows he's getting pissed, and he feels like he has to throw him a ball. And what happened? He tried to force feed a slant into double coverage, pick 6 the other way. At that point, the game's over. You just lost the game right there. That's a 14-point swing in that game. Because instead of you cutting into the lead and scoring a touchdown and bringing the lead down 7, they got to expand at 7. So that's a 14-point swing right there. Game's over. You can't make that throw. You just can't. So if I'm Dallas, if it's going to require you paying Dak $50+ million, move on. Just move on. Reset your quarterback cap. Pay CD. Get Micah done. And just move on. Just absolutely move on. Dak can't get you over the top. You got to get a new coach. McCarthy's got to go. You got to get a Jimmy Johnson type. You got to get somebody to fire these guys up. I mean, there's no excuse to come out flat against the 7 seed. There's no excuse. You literally backed into the playoffs as the 2 seed. Everybody, oh, well, no, they won out in Washington to get the 2 seed. You lost to Buffalo. You lost to Miami. You should have lost to the Lions, which, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, guys. The Lions lost the game themselves. Dan Campbell's like, I'm going to go for it 3 times just because I'm mad at the refs. I'll show you. And you should have lost that game. It just been a slew of nonsense for Dallas. Then you go to Washington, you roll Washington. Who cares? It's Washington. Everybody expects you to win that game. So you roll Washington, no big deal. Who cares? So you ended up backing in by Philly losing like 5 straight games. You back into the 2 seed by beating Washington. And then on top of that, now you have 2 home games, and it's set up perfectly for you to go to the Super Bowl. If San Francisco, which is very highly possible they could lose this week or next week because Purdy's out, so they're literally playing with Sam Darnold. There's a high likelihood that San Francisco could stumble. And then you would end up playing a Green Bay team at home. That's the 7 seed. And then next week, the Eagles are going to lose to the Bucs. Let's just get that over with. Then play the Bucs in Dallas. And then get a cakewalk of whoever ended up getting to the NFC Championship outside of that. I mean, you couldn't set it up any better if you're Dallas. You literally could have cakewalked right through the whole playoffs all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, and like I said, it's what Dallas does. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, all week I was kind of nervous about this game because I'm sitting there, I go, what's the most Dallas thing that Dallas could do? What's the most cowboy thing that Dallas could do? And I'm sitting there going, you know what? I don't feel good about the game because what Dallas does is they play down to competition, they come out flat, and it's just the cowboy thing to do. It's the cycle that we've seen over and over and over again. It's the cowboy thing to do. You know, guys, let's not just lose. Let's get blown out by a 7 seed who shouldn't even be in the playoffs with a rookie starter, a bunch of rookies, and the youngest NFL roster in history at home when we're the 2 seed. I said it was set up too perfect. You got the best. Dallas got their home field. They got to back into home field. They had the best possible draw they could have got in the first round in Green Bay. And I said, it's too Dallas. It's too Dallas. It's too perfect. Dallas should be able to sleepwalk through this game. It's too perfect. I said, they'll find a way to screw it up. Because Stephen A. says it, and he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Be patient. Just wait. Don't worry. Be patient. They won't let you down. And no, they won't. They will find a way to lose to a 7 seed Green Bay team with a bunch of rookies in the first round at home. And not only lose, not some weird game that you end up somehow fluky losing, get your doors blown off. 27-0 getting ready to go into the half. Like I said, I'm not a big Belichick fan, guys, but maybe Belichick would be a good fit in Dallas. Like I said, I don't like Belichick, but maybe he would be a good fit in Dallas just because of his personality. Because all the guys love McCarthy, all the guys love Jason Garrett, they love Wade Phillips. Well, yeah, they really showed how much they love McCarthy, knowing that if he loses in the first round of Green Bay at home in a blowout, he's probably going to get fired tomorrow or by the end of the week. So your guys are aware of that. There's a huge likelihood that your coach is going to get fired if you lose in the first round. Well, they really showed how much they love McCarthy, how bad they want to fight for his job. They don't care about McCarthy. They like him because he's nice and he doesn't push any buttons and he doesn't make them do anything. He's just a big pushover with all the guys. That's why they love him, because they can run roughshod over him and do whatever they want. We saw how much the guys love McCarthy. We saw how much they love Dan Quinn. It was on full display. The defense coughed up 48 points. They don't love Dan Quinn that much. They don't love enough. They don't love him enough to actually try. They don't love him enough to actually do anything correctly, give effort. They don't love him that much. They love him as a guy to say hi to walking down the hallway in the facility. They love him as a guy to go get a beer with after practice. They don't love him enough to try for him, to give effort, to try to make him look good. The guys don't love McCarthy enough to try, to give effort, to make him look good. They say, no, we'll just get blown out. We'll be down 27 going into half. So they clearly don't love him that much. Want to see a team that loves the coach? Look at that awful Raiders team when they anointed Antonio Pierce as the interim head coach. That's a team that loves their coach. They fought their asses off every week, came out firing every week, and they won 3 or 4 games what they had no business winning because they're a terrible football team. And they came out firing and winning games because they wanted to make sure that Antonio Pierce, after the season, became the permanent head coach. They wanted to say, look how hard we will play for this guy if you make him the head coach. We will do this every week. We are going to do everything we can to prove he should be the head coach. I didn't see that tonight from Dallas. I saw a lack of effort. I saw a lack of passion, a lack of caring, a lack of buy-in to their coaching staff. Like I said, maybe a guy like Belichick is what they need, because those guys sure as hell wouldn't like Belichick. Hey, damn sure ain't gonna like Belichick in the Belichick way that Tom Brady went through for 20 years. They sure as hell wouldn't like that. And you got the talent on defense, like I said. At least I know one thing with Bill, and it's undeniable, is Bill is a defensive coordinator genius. Bill is one of the best defensive coordinators this league's ever seen. Going back from when he was an actual DC with Lawrence Taylor and the Giants to all those Super Bowls in New England with those fantastic defenses. Like I said, I don't know if he's this GOAT head coach that everybody builds him up to be. But one thing I do know, if Bill Belichick was the head coach of Dallas calling the defense, They wouldn't have got ran on for 200 yards tonight. I know that much. Those coverage breakdowns wouldn't have happened. I know that. And I don't know. You have to figure out the offensive coordinator and the offensive situation. But maybe it's time for them to get a guy like Belichick and finally put a nail in this defense and get this defense playing the way it's supposed to play. Get these guys ready to actually perform at a high level with a genius defensive guy who they don't like, who's just going to make them play and not be their buddy, and if they play bad, kick their ass out the door. Maybe that's what they need. But they need to do something. They need to do something. Because I don't want to see Dan Quinn as the head coach. I don't want to see McCarthy back next year. So at this point, I don't care. I'll take a swing on a Belichick, see if some of that Tom Brady Patriots magic fairy dust can rub off on this organization and he can get the defense back together and get those guys locked in and focused and ready to play football on Sundays. But I mean, like I said, there's a whole lot of guys and candidates out there, and I mean, Belichick, Vrabel. Personally, I'd like him to go hire Vrabel. That's me personally, just to get that tough mentality, that dog mentality into the Dallas players. Have a head coach who's I'm going to punch you in the face type of guy because he played linebacker for Bill Belichick, so he'll install some of that Belichickian way. He was very good at Tennessee. That was absolutely asinine for Tennessee to fire him this year when he has no roster, no players. What the hell did you expect him to do? Of course he's going to lose a bunch of games. He ain't got nothing. You took away all his players. He had an all-pro wide receiver. You traded him to Philadelphia. He has an all-pro running back. You won't re-sign him. I mean, what the hell did you expect him to do? You trade away half his defense. I mean, so you have no quarterback. So I would love Mike Vrabel as the head coach. That's who I would be petitioning for because he understands the Patriot way, and he's just a hard-nosed guy who, if you're not tough, you ain't playing for Vrabel because that's all Vrabel is. Tough, physical, all about physicality, mental toughness, and not being soft, not getting pushed around. That's what they need. I think Mike Vrabel would be an excellent hire in Dallas. I think he's the type of personality that they need. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Belichick, but if you wanted to take a shot on him being a defensive genius and his Super Bowl experience, I got no better options. I ain't rolling back with McCarthy. So you basically got three options. You got Ben Johnson, the coordinator, the Lions offensive coordinator in Detroit. You got Belichick, you got Vrabel. Like I said, I like Vrabel because the defense has to get fixed. The defense has no physicality, no toughness. They don't need an offensive coach. They got a veteran quarterback, experienced offensive pieces. They don't need some genius offensive guy. They need a tough, smash-mouth, physical guy to get that defense to stop playing like a bunch of pansies. That's what they need. So I like Vrabel. He's a great motivator. He can get the guys ready to play. He brings that toughness, the defensive mindset. Obviously going to bring in some of Belichick's defensive schemes and stuff with his experience in the Patriot defenses and systems. But yeah, guys, not a lot to say about this one. McCarthy's got to go. If Dak wants a shit ton of money, I'm gonna let that go. And Dan Quinn can walk. And I'm moving on and starting over again because this ain't working. You can't just keep running this shit back. It's the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And the only thing we've seen from McCarthy is the same shit that we saw from every other coach. Dallas is really good in the regular season. He can't get the guys ready to play. They fall flat in the playoffs. It's the same shit. It's the same video on repeat. We've now seen 3 years in a row that McCarthy's not any different than Jason Garrett. He's not any different than Wade Phillips. He's not any different than Dave Campo. He's not any different than any of the rest, than any of Barry Switzer, any of the rest of the guys that couldn't win like Jimmy. So, I don't know, guys. We'll see what happens in the next week or so here. See if McCarthy still has a job tomorrow. I'm assuming he will. He'll probably get fired by the end of the week. But if that happens, keep you guys posted. See who Dallas starts interviewing. But, yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say McCarthy's going to be gone either way, regardless of who you want to replace him. I think it's pretty safe to say either way he's gone. I mean, you go 12-5, you get bounced and not get bounced in a blowout to a 7 seed, you're done. It's over. So, we'll see what happens, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening. Let me rant for a minute. Make sure to like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of these updates when these videos pop up. Catch you guys later.